My name's Arthur. I am the guy who always shows up, quietly, reliably, consistently. Birthdays, crises, tuition payments, you name it. If my brother Lyle ever needed help, he knew he could call me. And for a long time he did. But let me tell you how that loyalty turned me into the punchline of a joke at our mother's 60th birthday party, and how that moment changed everything. Let's rewind. I've spent most of my adult life carving out something I am proud of. I am not flashy. I am not rich by Instagram standards, but I am comfortable. I work as a freelance software consultant. I keep my life simple. No kids, no spouse, no debt, and for years I told myself that sharing my success, especially with family, was just the right thing to do. But generosity, when taken for granted, turns into something darker, something corrosive. My younger brother, Lyle, is 3 years younger, married, one son, Finn. He sells himself as a high-energy sales manager who's always on the go, always closing, but beneath the facade, his finances were always a mess. Late bills, maxed out credit cards, surprise school fees. Every few months I'd get a casual call that turned into a guilt-laced request. "Hey Art, you know Finn just got into university." "Right, we're all super proud. Just need a little help with the deposit for his accommodation." Nothing crazy, just a one-time thing. That one-time thing became a theme. A few hundred here, a few thousand there. A streaming subscription, a laptop upgrade, car repairs. It wasn't just Finn's needs. Chloe, Lyle's wife, had a habit of asking me for quick favors through Lyle, usually tagged with something like, "You know we'd do the same for you if roles were reversed." Spoiler alert, they wouldn't. And yet, I kept paying. Quietly, I told myself I was helping, that I was making things easier for Finn. That maybe, just maybe, this would be the last time. But what stung wasn't the money, it was Lyle himself. Every time he needed something, he lay it on thick. Jokes, fake warmth, compliments. The moment the transfer went through, his tone would change like clockwork. The gratitude would vanish. The jokes would shift to jabs. "Must be nice not having a family to worry about," he'd say at dinner parties, clinking glasses while everyone else laughed awkwardly. "Guess some of us just chose the hard mode, huh?" And me? I'd smile. I'd laugh. I'd swallow it. Because that's what I'd always done. Until the night of our mother's birthday. Elaine was turning 60, and the whole extended family had gathered at a local hall to celebrate. It was warm, crowded, loud with cousins and kids running around, and I'd already chipped in to help cover the rental cost, the cake, and yes, Finn's newest laptop for school. I arrived with a card and a genuine smile, ready to play my role. Then came the toast. Lyle grabbed the mic like he was hosting a roast at a comedy club. He started light, "Mom, you've been the glue," but quickly veered off script. "And of course," he said with a grin, "we've got to thank our family's personal endowment fund, Uncle Scrooge McDuck himself." He looked right at me. I froze. He's always there when we need him, swimming in his gold coins, handing out checks with that bachelor freedom of his. Laughter, chuckles, even Finn giggled. Then came the dagger. Sure, he'll never know the joy of sending a son off to university, but he gets to pay for it. That's generous, right? A ripple of uneasy laughter spread. I caught our mother trying to smile, her eyes flicking between me and Lyle. And that was the moment. That was when the room tilted. That was when I stopped being the helpful brother and became the joke. I didn't say much. I didn't need to. I stood up calmly. Everyone quieted. I looked at Lyle and said, "Consider that endowment fund permanently closed." He tried to reach for me, one of those fake back-patting gestures, maybe to turn it into a gag, but I shoved his hand away, not hard, just enough. Then I said, loud enough for the room to hear, "The only joke here is your act." And I walked out. No big speech, no drama, just silence. The kind of silence that sinks in after a decade of swallowing your pride. And as I walked to my car, past balloons and distant music, I felt something strange. Relief. The weight I'd been carrying for years of being the reliable one, the responsible one, the ATM in a brother's suit, it started to lift. I knew deep down there would be backlash, guilt trips, begging, anger, accusations. But I also knew this. I was done being Lyle's safety net, done being disrespected under the guise of family. This story, it starts there. Because sometimes the only way to heal is to finally stop helping. You ever notice how people treat your silence like permission? For years, my quiet support was interpreted not as love, but as obligation. And when I finally said no, publicly, clearly, my phone lit up like a bonfire. The night I walked out of that birthday party, I expected maybe one message, maybe two. Instead, I got Dre Unzwanzigste. First came the performance texts. Hey man, I think that came out wrong tonight. Everyone knew it was just a joke. Don't take it so seriously, Arthur. Kalaman, you know Lyle's just a clown when he's had wine. Then came the emotional grenades. We just ordered Thai food. Can you cover it? Finn's really craving noodles. You're punishing a child, Arthur. This is not what family does. I read each one, didn't reply. Then Lyle's tone changed. Gone was the fake cheer. In came the venom. You're cold, man. What kind of brother just walks out? Do you even care about Finn, or is your pride more important? You're the reason we're drowning. You abandoned us. Ah, there it was. The guilt machine in full swing. Let me be clear. This wasn't new. This was Lyle's greatest trick, making his problems my fault. But this time, I didn't flinch. I didn't explain. I didn't debate. I just unplugged. Muted the family group chat. Blocked Lyle and Chloe on every platform. Turned off red receipts. Started screening every call. And you know what? The quiet was beautiful. But here's what people don't tell you about boundaries. Once you set them, the world tests them immediately. They tried every angle. My mother, Elaine, called 3 days later, not to apologize, not to check in, just this. I know he shouldn't have said that. But Arthur, he's stressed. He's under pressure. They rely on you. I replied calmly. Then maybe they should stop making jokes about the only person holding them up. She sighed. He's your brother. No, I said. He's my user. Silence. Then she asked the question she always asks when someone's uncomfortable. Can't you just let it go? But I wasn't angry anymore. I was clear. Because letting it go was exactly what had gotten us here. And I meant what I said, no more lifelines. Over the next few weeks, the ripples began. First, I canceled all automatic payments tied to them. Finn's car insurance, the Disney Plus family plan Chloe used, even the Xbox Game Pass I'd been quietly covering. Then came the bigger decisions. Finn's financial aid paperwork needed a co-signer. Guess who they'd been counting on? Me. That form sat in my inbox for a week. I didn't open it. I didn't even mark it unread. Eventually, I deleted it. Not out of spite. Out of self-respect. I got a string of texts from Finn, loaded with confused emojis and the occasional sad face, like he was texting a customer service bot, not his uncle. But he never once said, I am sorry, never said, what Dad did was wrong. Just vague, hope you're okay messages, designed more for screenshotting than sincerity. Chloe, on the other hand, she leaned hard into the drama. She called sobbing one afternoon. Arthur, I am begging you. Finn's scholarship doesn't cover housing. He's devastated. We're trying our best, but it's like you just cut us off without a warning. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I simply asked, do you think that joke was funny? She paused. I didn't write the speech. But you laughed, I said. You posted it on Facebook. You hashtagged it #GoldUncle. Dead silence. Then came the final card. You're being cruel. You're hurting a child. We needed you. And I said, you didn't need me. You needed someone who wouldn't say no. That's not the same. Click. That was the last time I heard her voice. The requests kept coming in smaller, quieter waves. A field trip fee here. A gym membership promo. One message asked if I could just cover their Spotify family plan for Finn's Focus. Every time I ignored it. I wasn't being petty. I was being free. Letting go doesn't look like fireworks. It looks like emails you don't respond to, notifications you don't check, and a peace you finally start to feel in your chest instead of dread. But if you thought the humiliation at the birthday party was the climax, you'd be wrong. The real storm was still building. You see, when people can no longer manipulate you through guilt, they move to rage. The passive-aggressive Facebook posts started first. Funny how the people with the most to give the least. Blood doesn't mean loyalty. Some relatives just like playing hero until they're asked to show up. Family, the ones who stick around unless they're too busy living their single life. Each one came with vague captions and emojis. Not enough to be direct, just enough for mutual cousins to message me asking, you okay? I didn't respond. I didn't explain. Because I realized something powerful. The moment you stop justifying your boundaries, they become bulletproof. But it wasn't just Chloe. Lyle was unraveling. He sent me a voice memo at 2:10 a.m. Slurred, angry, spiteful. You think you're better than us? Huh? Sitting there in your minimalist apartment with your asterisk ing houseplants and your perfect little quiet life? You're a coward, Arthur. You always have been. You buy love, you don't earn it. I played it once, then deleted it. Because here's what I knew, and what he didn't. Love given under obligation isn't love, it's debt. And I had just declared bankruptcy. 3 weeks passed. No texts, no calls, no social posts. Just silence. It felt suspicious. Not peaceful like before, eerie, like the quiet that comes before something breaks. And I was right. It happened on a Tuesday night. I'd just finished my dinner. Nothing fancy, just lentils, some roasted veg, and a podcast playing in the background when I heard 3 sharp knocks at the door. Not a text, not a warning, just bam, bam, bam. I paused. Then I opened it. And there he was. Lyle. But not the polished, high-energy Lyle I was used to. This version looked hollow. His hair was unkempt, tie loose, eyes bloodshot. He reeked of stress and stale breath. His shoulders slumped like the weight of his whole life was pressing down on him at once. Arthur, he said. Not Art. Not bro. Not even man. Just Arthur. He stood there for a second like he didn't know whether to step in or collapse. I didn't move. I didn't invite him in. What do you want? I need to talk, he stammered. Please, I don't know what else to do. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. Talk. He took a shaky breath. It's all falling apart. Finn's university spot is gone. Gone. They pulled the offer, couldn't process housing or registration without the forms. Chulos, she's threatening to leave. Says I am useless. The car won't start. Rent's overdue. Cards are maxed. They won't even take my debit card at the damn grocery store. I said nothing. He looked at me, eyes desperate. I know I messed up, okay? I know that speech was a joke too far. I shouldn't have said it. It was just celebratory mood. Everyone was laughing. I didn't mean... Stop, I said. He blinked. You humiliated me. Not just once, not just with that speech. For years, you made me the punchline in a room I helped keep afloat. He shook his head. It wasn't like that. Yes, it was, I interrupted. Every time you mocked my single life, my freedom, my money, you were really trying to justify your failures. You needed me to look small so your mess felt normal. He looked like he wanted to argue, but there was nothing left to defend. You made me the family joke, I continued, and now you're at my door broken because the joke ran out of funding. Lyle looked away, jaw tight. He couldn't hold eye contact anymore. I am sorry, he muttered. It was a dumb joke. No, I said. It was a truth revealer, and now I need your truth. He looked up. If you want even a sliver of redemption, I said, you'll start by apologizing. Not just to me, but to Finn, to Chloe. For years of blame, excuses, manipulation, for treating your brother like an ATM, for never ever taking responsibility. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. I waited, but instead of owning anything, he pivoted. Look, maybe I could have done things better, yeah, but Finn should have been more careful with the deadlines. Chella's spending is half the reason we're behind, and Mom, she knew we were struggling. She could have stepped in way earlier. There it was. The same playbook. Point in every direction except inward. No, I said. You don't get to distribute blame like flyers. He exhaled hard. So what? You're just going to let us drown? Let Finn lose everything because I cracked a joke? I didn't answer right away. Then I said the one thing that finally made his jaw clench. I didn't let you drown, Lyle. You walked into the deep end, laughing the whole way, and told everyone you could swim. Silence. Here's my line, I said, standing taller. You want my help? Fine, you want even a conversation? Then you admit it, full stop. No deflection. You apologize face to face to me, to Finn, to Chloe. You own it, fully. You eat every word of that speech, publicly, sincerely. And then maybe we talk. His face twisted. The idea of surrender choked him. You'd really let your nephew suffer because you're mad at me. I leaned in slightly. I am not mad anymore, Lyle. I am done. He swallowed. Not one more cent, I continued. Not one more favor. Not one more moment of my time. That's the deal. And then, just like that, he tried to step forward. I blocked the doorway. He stopped. We stood there, inches apart, 2 brothers, 1 boundary. I guess I am sorry, he mumbled. But he didn't meet my eyes. Didn't move to leave. Didn't ask again. He just turned and walked away. That's the last time I saw him in person. His retreat wasn't cinematic. No slamming doors. No screaming. Just a man shrinking into himself, walking back into a world he scorched. now realizing there was no shelter left. He never apologized to Finn, or Chloe, or Mom. He just went quiet again. But that night I realized something even more important. Closure doesn't always come wrapped in apologies. Sometimes it's just a door you don't reopen. They say when you cut off a toxic connection, it feels like ripping something out of you. But that's not quite right. It feels like reclaiming something that was never meant to be given away in the first place. After that night, after Lyle walked away without meeting any of my terms, I waited for the backlash, the storm, the public smear campaign. And of course it came. But not all at once. It started slow. One cousin unfollowed me on Instagram. Then another messaged me something vague like, "I hope you find peace, man," which is code for "we're talking about you behind your back, but I want to seem spiritual." Then came the posts. Chloe wrote a long caption under a black and white filtered photo of Finn staring out a window. Sometimes, the people you count on the most become the ones who disappear when it matters most. Proud of my son for staying strong, despite the betrayals. Family is more than blood. Elaine, my mother, commented with a heart emoji. That was the part that stung. Not because I needed validation from her, but because deep down I still hoped she eventually say, "I see you, and I am sorry for letting it happen." But she never did. In her mind, Lyle's need would always outweigh my boundaries. His drama always louder than my silence. He had a family, a son, a narrative. I had peace, and apparently that made me the selfish one. Funny how that works. I didn't argue. I didn't text her back. I didn't defend myself in the family group chat. I'd muted weeks ago. I just lived. I woke up early. Took walks. Deleted apps I didn't use. Started cooking again. I reread old books I loved in college, played piano more, stopped checking my email at night. I even dug up the notes for a long overdue sabbatical I had always planned but never taken. 6 months, Southeast Asia, maybe Portugal, maybe no itinerary at all. And for the first time in years, I wasn't delaying my life for someone else's emergency. And here's the thing about silence. It's not empty. It's full of answers. One afternoon, I sat at my desk, sorting some paperwork, when I found a receipt from 2 years ago, a $2,200 payment I made for Finn's first gaming setup. Monitor, tower, mechanical keyboard, headset. At the time, I called it a study incentive. I laughed. Then I shredded it. It wasn't about the money. It was the permission slip I had given them to slowly drain me under the illusion of support. But now I knew better. That same week, I got a text from a mutual cousin. "Hey, just FYI, Lyle's selling stuff. Chloe moved in with her sister for a bit. Apparently Finn's trying to defer school for a year." I didn't reply. What was I supposed to say? That sucks? Hope they figure it out? No. This wasn't karma. This wasn't revenge. This was gravity. The natural result of years spent floating on borrowed air. And Lyle? He still hadn't messaged me. Not once since that night. But I'd hear things, indirectly, through family echoes. He was picking up warehouse shifts. The car finally broke down. Elaine was spotted driving Finn to community college orientations. Meanwhile, I booked my flight. No fanfare, no announcement, just a one-way ticket, a lightweight backpack, and a quiet exit. As I packed, I felt something strange. It wasn't guilt. It was grief. Not for Lyle, not even for Elaine, but for the version of me who spent so many years believing that being a good brother meant sacrificing dignity for acceptance. That version of me, he was gone now. And in his place stood someone new. Someone unafraid to say no. Someone who didn't need to buy peace or tolerate disrespect, disguised as family tradition. On my last night before departure, I got one final message. From Finn. No emojis this time. Just, "I miss you. I didn't know how much you helped until everything stopped. I am sorry I never said thank you. I get it now." I stared at that message for a long time. I almost replied. Almost, but instead, I screenshotted it, saved it in a folder titled Clarity. Because some apologies don't need replies, they just need to land. And I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't waiting for apologies or explanations. I had made peace with the truth. Not everyone gets a second chance, and not every bridge needs to be rebuilt. Some are meant to be left behind. As reminders, warnings, milestones of who you once were and who you will never be again. I boarded my flight the next morning with no plan, no obligations, and no more lifelines hanging from my pocket. Just air under my feet and peace in my chest. And for the first time in decades, I wasn't the joke. I was free. And that's how I walked away from being my family's personal piggy bank forever. Sometimes, the hardest part isn't cutting people off. It's realizing how long you let them cut into you. But when respect ends, so does access. If you've ever been the dependable one, the quiet one, the one people only remember when they need something, you're not alone, and you're not wrong for finally saying enough. Let me know in the comments. Would you have walked away too? Or would you have given them one last chance? If this story hit close to home, make sure to hit that like button. It helps more people find stories like this. Subscribe for more tales of betrayal, boundaries, and breaking free. Take care of you. See you in the next one.